Where do you get your inspiration and ideas from? How do you come up with your stories? So, this is kind of like the previous question with how did I end up in the genre? I dream them up when they come, or sometimes it's not even dreams. Sometimes they'll come more in like visions during waking hours. Um, for example, I was in the kitchen last week or the week before, and I was cooking it, so it was like the week or two before meal prep. So I was doing the meal prep, and I happened to have, I was playing a song that had come to me, and as I was playing the song, some characters that I kind of wasn't sure that, like, I know them, they've shown themselves to me, I even started their story, I just didn't know where we were going with their story. So I'm sitting there and I have the song playing and I'm doing the meal prep, and right in the middle of the song they just started talking blah, 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 and explain their whole story to me. So sometimes it's dreams, sometimes it's visions, and they'll let me know, what's going on with them. You are going to see, though, the rest of the Brothers Black series, or a few of the Brothers Black books, they came from actual experiences that I went through in the last 2-3 years. Some people did some real foul stuff to me. If you waste my time like that, you need to be a book. So yeah, a couple of the antagonists in those books are going to be from some experiences. Get some stuff off my chest. Yeah, so that's where the inspiration for the characters come from. So the next question, how do you develop your characters so well? How do I develop my characters so well? I'll go back to the fact that I don't. I don't. I literally allow myself to decrease so that God can step in, the universe can step in, so spirit can take over, so that these characters, so that I'm not hindering what these characters need, what the universe is telling me that these characters need. I may argue with them sometimes, like, that's Wyatt. I have 4 versions of Wyatt. Because he was the most, and I was just like, dude, like, can we scale it back just a little bit? And he's like, that's who I am. I don't know what you talking about. Like, yeah, she's my girl, I'm going after her, this is it. And he was just really aggressive. The book opens up aggressively the first few times that I did it. The first 4. I think the one that you guys got was the 5th version. The first 4 versions of that book opened up with him being really aggressive. And I was like, yo, we can't do this like this. I don't even like you like this. So yeah, you guys got a dialed back version of Wyatt. Right now, one of the reasons why I'm taking my time with Misty and King is because their story needs to be told from them, and there's just so much other stuff going on in their series that I think I have to listen to them tell me what they need. So that's how I develop them. They tell me what they need, and I consider their feelings, and how would I feel if this happened, and what would I do in this particular situation? Does that make sense? I have long conversations with myself about this. Like, I let them play the scenes out, and show me what they want me to do, and then we argue about what I'm willing to do and what I won't do. And when it doesn't make sense, and when they explain to me, yes, it does. If you do it this way, this way, this way, it totally makes sense. And usually they're right. So I kind of argue and end up being wrong a lot of the times. How do you figure out that a book will be a series or just a standalone novel? There are times that, okay, so with the Legally Bound series and all those spin-offs, I I kind of knew that I kind of knew what books would spin off where. I've known from book one in the Legally Bound series as I went to finish it off, polish it, as I went to polish off the last book, and started thinking about it as a series. I, pretty much knew that it would eventually spin off into Hush and Ballers and Brothers Black. Actually, it was interesting. Once again, speaking with a really good friend of mine, we usually talk on the phone, and sometimes we'll get to prophesying to each other, and she said something to me that resonated with me, and it stayed with me. So when it came time to start moving forward in the books, I knew that I wanted to somehow tie the Blacks into that whole spin-off series. I knew that there were 7 brothers, and I knew that I would tie them in somehow. So most times as I'm going through, another character jump out and say, you're not done with this series yet, or you need to put me in this series. And that's how I know whether they're a standalone or whether it has more. Do you live in your characters' minds and lives as you write them? Do you feel what they feel? How real do they become? Do you feel empathy and sympathy for them? So I will say absolutely. As I said, I decrease so that the characters to come forward. It was so hard for me to write Brothers Black 4 because I went through Heather's emotions and her experience. I lived that out with her. You guys didn't get half of what she showed me, and I had to figure out how to give that to you safely. I couldn't negate it and not address it, because how do I show a happily ever after if I don't show you where they came from? I just needed to pick and choose from what she showed me, what she gave me, what I could actually give you safely. So yes, I do have empathy, sympathy. I that's why Funny Valentine actually came out when it did, because I needed a laugh. That book was heavy. I knew that book 4 was going to be heavy, so I needed to break state from that. So yeah, I definitely go through the gamut of emotions with my characters. And in Ballers 2 with Reese, I cried through most of her scenes while I was typing, like literally sitting there. Oh. So yeah, I prayed when she was praying. That was actually my prayer, because I sat there and prayed that out. Yeah, I live through their emotions with them. If writing wasn't your thing, what else would you do? Most likely I would be in music, fashion design, but I somehow I would be writing and creating. I don't I don't see me without that being my thing. That just doesn't even sound right. But I went to school for fashion design, so I would be a clothing designer or a musician, or a combination of the two. None of that's off the table for me. It would be creating something. That's what I would be doing. How in the world did you come up with the idea of slow burn? Slow burn. Actually, slow burn was influenced by Black Bella, because at the time I didn't think that I would republish it. I had pulled that one, and it was unpublished, and I didn't think that I would bring it back. If you remember their scene with the ghost, slow burn kind of appeared to me like that did. I didn't want to make it exactly the same, just in case I ever did decide to publish that book again. So there was the process in my head of, okay, you love the ghosts, you loved how they moved through the room. How can you recreate this for these characters in, you know, you got assassins and secret security. Like, how do you just make this gangster and not where the men are doing it? You have the women doing it. And I was like, oh. When I think it was Val that whispered in my ear, like, slow burn. And I was like, what? Oh, yeah. So a lot of my books are driven by one or two scenes. And I know that those scenes have to get into the book somehow, and then I build everything else around those particular scenes. That's what the characters do. They'll show me a scene or two, and then I build everything around that, because those things have to happen at some point. Like in Brothers Black 4, the scene at the end with Braxton shirtless. I had to figure out how to do that. I talked that out with my husband. Like, look, this is what I see. This is what he's doing. But how do I make that make sense? And how do I get that on paper? And I was so freaking excited when it clicked and I got it on the page. Have you ever thought of writing in other genres? Yes, I have. If it were up to me, I'd probably be writing paranormal. I love paranormal. I love fantasy. Anything that's Nephilim, vampires, shifters. I'll read it, but I'm not really sure if I haven't had shifters particularly talk to me yet. Warlocks, anything majestic, seers. I love all of that. So if it were up to me, I probably would be writing that. I do intend to put a series out, a couple of paranormal series. Hopefully they will come out this year. That is my intention. But yeah, I definitely have thought of moving into the paranormal genre. I have been thinking about going into suspense without the romance, because in romance you have to have a happily ever after, and some characters you just want to kill somebody off. You don't get to the end. So yeah, I've been playing with that too. So yes, I have thought about writing in other genres. Have you ever read a story by another author that was a little too close to one of your own? No, I haven't. I wasn't going to answer that question at first, but then I said, I'll answer it, and I'm going to answer it because I'll tell you why. If I am writing, let's say, sports romance, I will not read sports romance. If I am writing in the paranormal genre, I will not read paranormal. I tend to stay away from whatever subgenre I'm working on at that moment, because I don't want to be influenced by another author's work. So I usually don't run into anything that might be similar to mine because I'm not reading what I write. However, I still haven't come across that, because I do read some authors that are closer within the range of what I'm doing, and I haven't come across anyone else's story that I feel similar to mine, which is a good thing. I've been asked before, in workshops or whatever, to figure out who I sound like, who my voice is like, and that is one of the hardest questions for me, because I haven't read anyone that I feel I sound like, or that I feel like influences me. I mean, my real name is Verlise. If you learn the spelling, if you Google me, I'm the one and only. Like, that my mom and God did that. Like, I was meant to be unique for a reason. So when people try to cause me or force me to say who I'm like, or put me in a box of what I'm like, it's like, from day one, when I got a birth certificate and had my footprints taken, I was the original. Why do I have to be like anyone else? And that's just me. If someone can, and I've asked readers who they felt that I had a voice like, and no one can ever tell me. So I don't know. If you find someone that you feel my story sound like, or what have you, holler. And then again, maybe not, because I probably wouldn't read them, because I wouldn't want to be influenced by it. So yeah, and I haven't read any, you know, if the question that was asked in relation to whether I feel like someone copied my style, no, I haven't seen that. Thank knock on wood, thank God. I don't know. And that's it for this episode. I thank you guys for listening to me, for sending me the questions. Again, you can send your questions to thebluesapphire@gmail.com, and and I'll be happy to answer whatever questions. Remember, put in the subject you want to put questions for Blue, and I will go ahead and answer you. Also, please like and subscribe the videos. Let me know what you would like to see more of. I wish I could have showed you guys some candid moments from the last release, although I cried a lot. And some of that stuff was just funny at the end, like, oh my God, this cannot be happening. Even Alice shaking his head like, y'all did not want to see that. It was crazy. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next time.